Chapter 61. Amazing Cultivation World. The Sect Master Wishes to Run. Hanju couldn't help but open his eyes when he heard Guan Yuging's words. He saw Guan Yuging looking at him from several kilometers away. His white clothes fluttered in the wind, and he had a confident expression. Hanju had opened a barrier during his tribulation transcendence, so the pressure of the heavenly tribulation was not that terrifying. This caused Guan Yuging to feel that Hanju's breakthrough was nothing much. "Sai, you didn't come earlier, but now." Hanju shook his head and laughed. He continued to consolidate his cultivation. 4 days later, Hanju's cultivation had completely stabilized. The Six Paths spirit energy in his body far exceeded what he had before his breakthrough. He stood up and stepped into the air, heading towards Guan Yuging. Guan Yuging couldn't wait any longer. He couldn't be bothered to show respect. He took out a sword and charged at Hanju. While flying, he quickly cast a spell with both hands. He circulated his spirit energy, causing his robes to flutter. "As long as I defeat him, I could become the sect master of the Jade Pure sect. At that time, junior sister Xixuan will definitely marry me." Guan Yuging's eyes burned. Thinking of the beautiful future, his entire being was ignited. He was prepared to use the unparalleled mystical power that he had recently comprehended to instantly defeat the other party. Swish. There was a piercing sound. Sword key. Guan Yuging's pupils widened. He subconsciously wanted to block. However, the sword key was too fast. It was so fast that even he, a soul formation cultivator, could not react in time. Gah! The sword kui of the unparalleled finger divine sword directly penetrated Guan Yuging's abdomen, scattering the spirit energy within his body. Guan Yuging spat out a mouthful of blood as he flew back like a kite with its string cut, landing on the hill. After landing, he clutched his stomach and spat out another mouthful of blood. His aura instantly weakened. Pathetic. Impossible. Guan Yuging felt as if he was struck by lightning. He stared at Hanju, who was walking in the air. Wearing the golden cicada's mystic divine robe, Hanju had a stunning temperament. He wore a Frost Lord's glazed crown on his head, a little universe belt around his waist, and a pair of 9-star spirit trampling boots on his feet. When he was meditating, Guan Yuging didn't feel much. But looking at Hanju now, he felt that this was a true immortal, especially that perfect face. If there were immortals in the world, they would look like this. Wait, what am I thinking? Guan Yuging suddenly awoke, followed by a sense of defeat. He couldn't even take a single strike from his opponent. Ridiculous. Previously, he had smiled and wanted to defeat his opponent with one strike. But in the end, he was defeated with one strike. At that moment, Guan Yuging wished there was a hole in the ground for him to hide in. Hanju landed in front of him. Guan Yuging lowered his head in shame, not daring to look at him. Hanju said softly, "Don't be disheartened. You're strong enough, but you chose the wrong opponent. In the entire Jade Pure sect, you're the only one worthy of fighting me." With that, he disappeared. Guan Yuging was stunned. He didn't feel that the other party was bragging. Instead, he felt slightly comforted. "Deity slaying elder, just how strong are you?" Hanju quickly left the 10,000 demon realm and didn't stay in the inner sect city. He returned to the cultivation mountain. He suddenly had an idea. With a flash, he arrived at the foot of the mountain. He cast a spell with his right hand, causing the soil to rise and quickly form a stone tablet. Hanju used his finger as a pen and wrote 4 words on the stone tablet. "Cultivate diligently, become immortal." This was the name of this mountain from now on. Cultivate diligently, become immortal mountain. Hanju smiled in satisfaction and returned to the mountain. The black hell chicken and the chaotic heavenly dog were still cultivating. Xing Hongxuan was nowhere to be found. Hanju chatted with the black hell chicken and chaotic heavenly dog for an hour before returning to his cave abode. Sitting on the bed, he took out the primordial judgment sword. The sword was crimson in color, and there were black patterns on it, making it look even more extraordinary. Holding this sword, Hanju felt inexplicably close to it. He poured his spirit energy into the sword. Boom! The entire mountain began to shake violently, scaring Hanju so much that he hurriedly cut off the 6 paths spirit energy. So strong. Hanju was pleasantly surprised. As it was a birth dharma treasure, he didn't need to bind it with blood. Then Hanju entered the simulation trial and fought with Deoi's 9 cauldrons. Half a minute later, Hanju opened his eyes and let out a long breath. He muttered, "I can finally defeat you. You're really shameless. You actually know so many movement techniques." In the battle, he had severely injured Deoi's 9 cauldrons with a single strike. After that, Deoi's 9 cauldrons kept dodging and prolonged the battle. The 8th level of the Void Amalgamation Realm was nothing much. Hanju's confidence increased greatly. He no longer feared the demon-taming sect and Seoi. From his interpersonal relationships, he could see that Seoi was still at the 2nd level of the Void Amalgamation Realm. How could Seoi kill him? How? At the thought of him, Hanju immediately took out the Book of Misfortune and started cursing Seoi. In the future, he would curse this guy whenever he had free time. Although Hanju wasn't afraid of him, he didn't want this troublesome person to delay his cultivation. 10 days later, Hanju put down the Book of Misfortune in satisfaction and began to cultivate the 6th level of the 6 paths of reincarnation technique. A year later, Hanju had mastered the 6th level of the 6 paths of reincarnation technique and could cultivate in the Void Amalgamation Realm. At the same time, he comprehended a new mystical power. 6 Paths Ultimate Seal. If this seal landed on the enemy, it could directly kill the enemy's essence soul. Before the body was destroyed, the essence soul would be eliminated. This was a technique that could be used as a finishing move. Hanju stretched and sighed. "I've gotten stronger again." In no hurry to cultivate, he opened his interpersonal relationships and checked his emails. He wondered if anything had happened to his friends recently. "Your disciple Sukai was attacked by a ghost cultivator, X12. Your disciple Sukai has caused the deaths of tens of thousands of lives. His negative karma has increased. Your good friend Lei Kingzi was attacked by a fiendish cultivator, X58. Your good friend Lei Kingzi was attacked by a righteous cultivator, X44. Your good friend Lei Kingzi is seriously injured. His life is hanging by a thread. Your beloved Sewan Kingjin has left the world. Your good friend Mo Fuchao massacred an entire region. His negative karma is overflowing. Your good friend Sing Hongjuan accidentally entered an ancient great cultivator's mystic realm. Her fate is unknown." So many exciting things in just a short year? Hanju blinked. Damn it. Who attacked my Jade Pure Sex sect master? Are the righteous and demonic factions rebelling? Was Mo Fuku on a path of no return? And Sing Hongjuan. She was clearly immortal. How could she always obtain treasures and encounter opportunities? Could it be that she was infected by my Providence as an immortal emperor's descendant? Hanju made up the scenes in his mind. After a while, he continued to cultivate. Although the cultivation world was interesting, he did not want to be involved. The J Pure sect had the backing of Deoi's 9 cauldrons. Who could guarantee that the other sects did not? The Void Amalgamation Realm alone was not enough. The reincarnated Mahayana cultivator, Zhu Fan, was still suffering. Now Hanju would cultivate with all his might and strive to reach the body integration realm within 100 years. 2 years later, Lei Kingzi came to visit. Hanju let him enter the cave abode. This fellow's expression returned to the sickly and weak state he had been in for decades. It seemed that his injuries were not light. Hanju sighed and said, "Sect Master, you really can't live in peace. can't you cultivate properly for a few hundred years?" Embarrassed, Light Kingsley said helplessly, "I'm the sect master. There are many things I can't control. In the past few years, a core disciple of our Jade Pure sect fell into the demonic path and caused a lot of hatred. I had no choice but to deal with this karma. Who knew that I would fall deeper and deeper? Now there's trouble. The righteous and demonic cultivators of the Great Yan cultivation world are working together to attack my Jade Pure sect. There are only 2 soul formation cultivators in the Jade Pure sect. For some reason, Elder Guan is severely injured and is still recuperating in seclusion. Sigh. Elder Han, we might really have to escape this time." Chapter 62. 19 Sects Attack the Jade Pure Sect. The righteous and demonic factions were ganging up on the Jade Pure sect. Hanju had a strange expression. He couldn't help but ask, "How do you deal with karma?" "Kill all those who are not convinced." Lai Kingzi immediately became angry and scolded, "Those dogs. I personally went to apologize, but they directly attacked me. Most of the time, I didn't even have the chance to speak. You seem to know the core disciple who fell into the demonic path. His name is Mofuku. He didn't fall into the demonic path on his own accord. I suspect that someone is defaming him." Hanju raised his eyebrows and said, "Tell me more about it." Lai Kingzi started to describe his ordeal. He first spoke of Mofuku's origins. Mofuku came from a cultivation family. Due to evidence of collusion with the fiendish cultivators, they were wiped out by the righteous sects. Only Mofuku and Mozu survived. Old Immortal Dewaste Thunder had personally accepted Mofuku as his disciple and given him a new name. Mofuku was a name that Old Immortal Dewaste Thunder had personally given him, hoping that he would forget his hatred and turn over a new leaf. Mofuku had gone out to train and had met his former enemies. He had slain many of the sect's disciples, and then attacked the other disciples of the righteous sects who had committed the crime. Lai Kingzi felt that there was something fishy about this matter. After all, he had seen Mofuku before. He was humble, and even if he could not hold back from killing the enemy, he should have returned after the first time. He shouldn't have been seeking revenge and gone mad. Now more than 5 sects were chasing after Mofuku. A few years ago, Mofuku had no choice but to use his family's mystical power. In the end, it was a demonic path mystical power, causing him to become a demon. More and more people were killed by this mystical power. Mofuku became a demonic cultivator and could not turn back anymore. This matter is too fishy. These sects didn't even ask me and directly pursued Mofuku for revenge. Every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. I can accept that. But when I went to apologize, I was beaten up. The matters of the younger generation can involve the sect masters. It's obvious that they're using this opportunity to start a war. The more Li Kingzi spoke, the more agitated he became. He felt like he was about to cry. In the end, he still chose to give up. He sighed. Now that both the righteous and demonic paths are attacking us, we can't stop them. We should just run, as you think. Dewaste 9 cauldrons left, while Guan Yuging was severely injured. How could Hanju alone stop the righteous and demonic paths? Some powerful sects still had soul formation realm existences. For example, the Vermilion Bird Sword sect had 2. If all the sects joined forces, Hanju alone would definitely not be able to stop them. Hanju asked cautiously, "Do they have void amalgamation realm existences? Body integration realm existences?" Lai Kingzi said with widened eyes, "How is that possible?" Previously, Huang Zhenshin's cultivation level was already at the 9th level of the soul formation realm. If they had a cultivator at the void amalgamation realm, how could they continue to be bullied? Could they be like our Jade Pure sect, where our ancestors went out to cultivate and seek fortuitous encounters? Definitely, but I've never heard of anyone at the void amalgamation realm. Back then, when the ancestor went to look for them one by one, They all acted like grandchildren. Lai Qingzi couldn't help but sigh. If only Daoist Nine Cauldrons was still here. It was a rare opportunity for the Jade Pure sect to grow. There was no need to fight. After a few hundred years, it would become the strongest sect in Great Yan. However, at this juncture, something happened. Lai Qingzi felt very helpless. Ever since he became the sect master, he had sacrificed so much and suffered so much. In the end, it was all for nothing. Hanju had a strange expression. Lai Qingzi understood his thoughts. He sighed and slowly stood up. Prepare yourself well. In 3 days at most, the Jade Pure sect will prepare to flee to the sea and seek refuge with the ancestor. Hanju hurriedly said, "What are you saying? If I'm not running, why are you running?" Stunned, Lai Qingzi asked carefully, "What do you mean?" Hanju said calmly, "Let them come. They will understand one thing. The most terrifying person in the Jade Pure sect is not the ancestor." All along, Hanju's imaginary enemy had always been the demon-taming sect. What did he think of the Great Yan cultivation world now? "Come at me. How dare you disturb my cultivation? I'll make sure you never return." Lai Qingzi was overjoyed. He understood Hanju's character. Such a cowardly Hanju dared to say such words. He was absolutely confident. "What realm are you at now?" Lai Qingzi suppressed his surprise and asked. Hanju replied, "At least not inferior to the ancestor." "Yeah, not inferior. It would take him half a minute to kill Daoist Nine Cauldrons." This old man's movement techniques were too absurd. After a long while, when Lai Qingzi walked out of the connate cave abode, he was still stunned. He felt as if he was dreaming. After Lai Qingzi left, Hanju cautiously tested the strongest person in the Jade Pure sect other than him. It was still Guan Yuging. No enemy lurked. Hanju felt a little pity. Where was Li Qianlong? Was he cursed to death? Hanju was still looking forward to teaching Li Qianlong a lesson. In the end, he disappeared into thin air. What a pity. Hanju shook his head and took out the Book of Misfortune. He cursed Xiaoi for a few days to vent his anger before continuing to cultivate. A year quickly passed. The Great Yan cultivation world was in chaos. Mo Fuxiao had killed his way to fame. The righteous and demonic sects had formed an alliance and were preparing to attack the Jade Pure sect. There were 19 sects involved. This matter had already spread to every corner of the cultivation world. All cultivators discussed this matter. 19 sects were attacking the Jade Pure sect. However, the Jade Pure sect did not panic, which made the 19 sects panic instead. The 19 sects did not dare to act rashly, afraid that Daoist Nine Cauldrons would return. On this day, Hanju suddenly opened his eyes from cultivation. Sensing a familiar aura, he immediately sent his divine sense out. Huangji Hao of the Vermilion Bird Sword sect. At this moment, Huangji Hao stood by a small river and gazed at the 18 peaks of the Jade Pure sect. His expression was indifferent. He looked calm, but he was panicking inside. "Why are you here again?" Hanju's voice entered his ears. Huangji Hao trembled in fear and hurriedly said, "Fellow Daoist, don't do anything. I'm only here to visit you. I have no ill intentions towards the Jade Pure sect." "Visit me?" Hanju was baffled. He hesitated. Should he attack? Without receiving a reply, Huangji Hao grew even more panicked. He continued, "Recently, someone has been leading the righteous demonic alliance to deal with the Jade Pure sect. Our sect master sent me to inquire if the Jade Pure sect needs help." Hanju raised his eyebrows. Is the Vermilion Bird Sword sect trying to stab the alliance in the back? Hanju thought of a plan and said with a voice transmission, "The Jade Pure sect doesn't need any help. I will wait for all of you here. No matter how many of you come, you will all die." These words caused Huangji Hao's heart to beat wildly. What an arrogant tone. If it had been anyone else, Huangji Hao would have scoffed. However, he believed Hanju. However, this matter is fishy. There might be someone behind this. If your Vermilion Bird Sword sect can find the mastermind, then I don't mind having the sect master maintain an alliance with you. Hanju's words surprised Huang Jihao. Huang Jihao has a favorable impression of you. Current favorability, 4 stars. Hanju was speechless when he saw this line. This fellow. Chapter 63. The Mysterious Power of Curses. Huang Jihao left. However, Hanju couldn't look at him anymore. The favorability increased inexplicably. Hanju even suspected that this fellow had improper thoughts about him. Then Hanju continued cultivating. It was still unknown if the Vermilion Bird Sword sect could find the mastermind. Hanju didn't care if they could. Even if the 19 sects attacked tomorrow, he would not be afraid. There was only one thing in his eyes. I should break through to the second level of the Void Amalgamation Realm as soon as possible. In a cave with a flickering flame, Xing Hongshuan sat in front of a fire. Roar! A deafening roar came from outside the cave. It was terrifying. Xing Hongshuan slowly opened her eyes. She looked at the words carved on the mountain wall and frowned slightly. Why do I feel like something is missing? Xing Hongshuan thought bitterly. This was a mystic realm belonging to an ancient cultivator. Xing Hongshuan had discovered by chance that there was a cultivation technique recorded here. It was unfathomable. She mustered up the courage to cultivate it. Her cultivation level had improved significantly in the past year, but she was still far from completely mastering this cultivation technique. Xing Hongshuan couldn't help but think of Hanju. If he were here, he might be able to answer her questions. With these thoughts in mind, Xing Hongshuan took out the heavenly puppet. Putting it next to her, she leaned her head against it and began to rest. Ever since she got the heavenly puppet, whenever she missed Hanju, she would take it out. She often told the puppet what was on her mind. Because Hanju's sole thought was hidden in the puppet, he was not worried that anything would happen to her. After a long while, Xing Hongshuan sat up straight and prepared to continue cultivating. At this moment, footsteps came from outside the cave. Xing Hongshuan immediately took out her equipment. A gray-robed old man with long hair and a youthful face walked in. Upon seeing the nervous Xing Hongshuan, he smiled and said, "Don't worry, Junior. I'm also here to study the cultivation technique." Here to comprehend the cultivation technique? Xing Hongshuan frowned in confusion. Could it be that this person had already discovered this mountain wall before she came here? Ignoring Xing Hongshuan, the gray-robed elder walked to the mountain wall and sat down. He stared at the words on the mountain wall and thought hard. Neither of them noticed the light in the eyes of the heavenly puppet. Inside the connate cave abode, Hanju hesitated. Should he let the heavenly puppet attack? Ever since Xing Hongshuan had fallen into the ancient mystic realm, he had kept an eye on her, fearing that something would happen to her. However, the gray-robed elder did not seem to have any ill intentions. Forget it. He decided to wait and see. It would be awkward if he couldn't defeat him. He continued to cultivate. In the blink of an eye, another 2 years passed. Xing Hongshuan and the gray-robed elder were still studying the cultivation technique on the mountain wall. They did not disturb each other. Hanju opened his eyes and checked his emails. Your disciple Su Kai was attacked by the Liu family cultivators X43. Your disciple Su Kai was forced to marry into the Liu family. Your good friend Zhou Fan was attacked by a fiendish cultivator X8. Your good friend Chang Yuer has learned a mystical power. Your good friend Huang Jihao was attacked by the Wei family cultivators X288. Your good friend Huang Jihao was severely injured and his life is hanging by a thread. He managed to escape. Your disciple Su Kai spread bad luck. The Liu family encountered a plague that is hard to come by in 1,000 years. The entire family perished. Your good friend Fairy Xwan had an epiphany during cultivation. Her cultivation has improved and her soul strength has increased greatly. Su Kai is too terrifying. Wherever he went, life perished. Hanju was secretly shocked. It seemed like the providence of the immortal emperor's descendant was really strong. He could actually withstand such bad luck. Poor Liu family. Also, what was going on with Wang Jihao? Could the Wei family be the mastermind behind Mofuko? The Wei family was amazing. They had actually managed to severely wound Wang Jihao. Since when was there such strength in the cultivation world of Great Yan? Hanju immediately sent a voice transmission to Li Qingzi, who was recuperating on the main peak, asking about the Wei family. He immediately rushed to his cave abode. Elder Han, why are you asking about the Wei family? Li Qingzi asked nervously. Hanju raised his eyebrows. Are they very strong? Li Qingzi replied, the Wei family is not strong, they only have one nascent soul ancestor. However, they have countless beauties who can topple cities and countries. The Wei family has all sorts of marriages and even business outside of the Great Yan. They have the most connections in the Great Yan cultivation world. Hanju asked, is it possible that the Wei family is the mastermind? Li Qingzi was stunned when he heard that. He hesitated and said, I don't think so. The Wei family has no feud with the Mo family and is on good terms with the Jade Pure sect. He didn't have the confidence to continue. He felt that anyone could be the mastermind at this point. It's fine, sect master, rest well. If the enemy comes, I'll be here. Hanju nodded. Li Qingzi nodded and left. Before leaving, he looked worried. Could it really be the Wei family? Hanju didn't think too much. He took out the Book of Misfortune and habitually cursed Li Qianlong and Tezioe. Now, whenever he had the time, he would curse the pair. Cultivate, read emails, curse. Cultivate, read emails, curse. This was Hanju's daily routine. In the middle of a mountain range that was like an immortal realm, Jiao sat in the bamboo forest. The surrounding heaven and earth spirit energy turned into mist and coiled around his body. Boom! Exio suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, his ugly face turning pale. He slumped. Gritting his teeth, he cursed. What's going on? Why is there always an issue? For the past 10 years, for some reason, he had often encountered mental demons during his cultivation. They disturbed his cultivation and almost caused him to go berserk. At this rate, when would he recover? Kazuoe was very depressed. Ever since he had gone to the Great Yan cultivation world, he had felt that nothing was going his way. It was very strange. He made up his mind to never go to the Great Yan cultivation world alone. As for Hanju, although he hated him, he didn't have the strong urge to take revenge immediately. He had hated too many people in his life. Hanju wasn't even ranked highly in his mind. So he didn't even think that it was because of him. The more Xiao thought about it, the more depressed he became. He could only take out a pill and recuperate first. In a magnificent palace sat dozens of cultivators. Like Hanlong and a black-robed cultivator sat at the head of the table. Everyone, this is Senior Y Yuan, a great cultivator at the Void Amalgamation Realm. He's willing to help us eliminate the Jade Pure sect. Li Qianlong introduced him to the cultivators present. Y Yuan was the black-robed cultivator beside him. The sect master of the Rancote sect was at the 9th level of the Soul Formation Realm. In other words, the Dewaist 9 Cauldrons of the Jade Pure sect is very likely to be at the 9th level of the Soul Formation Realm. The Y family and I specially invited Senior Y Yuan to uphold justice for us. As for Dewaist 9 Cauldrons, we've received news that he has indeed gone overseas. His sect is also facing trouble and has no time to care about the Jade Pure sect. Like Qianlong's words caused the cultivators present to look at each other. These cultivators were the sect masters or vice-sect masters of the righteous and demonic sects. They had come to discuss the invasion of the Jade Pure sect. When they heard that Y Yuan was a Void Amalgamation Realm cultivator, they were not surprised. Instead, they were hesitant. If they took down the J Pure sect, would the Y family become the next J Pure sect? They couldn't defeat a void amalgamation realm cultivator. Lei Qianlong took in everyone's expressions and continued, Senior Y Yuan has his own sect. This time, our Wei family has spent a lot of effort to invite him. After this matter is over, Senior Y Yuan will leave. After the J Pure sect is overthrown, the Y family only wants the J Pure sect's mystic realm and will not participate in the power struggles of the cultivation world. Upon hearing this, the expressions of the sect leaders eased. Lei Qianlong was secretly pleased. Deity Slaying Elder, I want to see if you can stop a void amalgamation realm cultivator. At this moment, the spirit energy in Lei Qianlong's body suddenly surged as he spat out a mouthful of blood. The sect masters were stunned. They stood up and looked around warily. Chapter 64. Su Kai feels touched. Attack of the Void Amalgamation Realm Cultivator. 3 years later, Hanju broke through to the second level of the Void Amalgamation Realm. Xing Hongzhuan was still comprehending her cultivation technique and did not disturb the gray-robed elder. After the breakthrough, Hanju habitually checked his emails. Your disciple Yang Tandong became a demon king. Your good friend Mo Fucho was attacked by righteous cultivators, X109. Your good friend Dewace Nine Cauldrons was attacked by an itinerant cultivator. Your disciple Su Kai has obtained a fortuitous encounter and has comprehended a mystical power. Your good friend Zhou Fan was attacked by a fiendish cultivator, X287. Your good friend Mo Fucho was attacked by righteous cultivators, X302. Your good friend Mo Fuchao was severely injured and managed to escape. Your good friend Zhou Fan has fallen into the demonic path, F*KK. Another disciple had fallen to the demonic path. In fact, it was someone with connate Providence. Hanju was speechless. What's going on with this heavenly thunder peak? The peak master was a spy, and the 2 core disciples had betrayed the sect. Mo Fuko and Zhu Fan's cultivation levels had both reached the 5th level of Golden Core Realm and above. They had advanced by leaps and bounds. He wondered what they had been through. Just as Hanju was wondering, he suddenly sensed the chaotic heavenly dog's aura. The fat dog squatted at the entrance of the cave abode and did not say a word. It looked like it wanted to say something but hesitated. Hanju asked, "What is it?" The chaotic heavenly dog immediately asked, "Master, can I go out and gain experience? I can't stay in seclusion anymore." Hanju frowned. The chaotic heavenly dog waited uneasily. You're a divine beast. Once your identity is exposed, it will easily attract the attention of others. At that time, it will be very difficult for me to save you, Hanju said seriously. The chaotic heavenly dog had a troublesome personality indeed. It was unlike the black hell chicken, which had already become as stable as Hanju through his teachings. However, as a chaotic heavenly dog, it was difficult to convince it of its yearning for the outside world. Master, don't worry. I'll definitely be careful. I won't cause trouble or expose my identity. I'll be back after I take a walk. Hanju thought for a moment and said, then go. As a divine beast of Providence, it was difficult for the chaotic heavenly dog to die. He could let it go out and suffer a beating. Only then would he understand how good it was to keep a low profile and cultivate by his side. Pleasantly surprised, the chaotic heavenly dog immediately rushed down the mountain. Before long, the black hell chicken came. Hanju asked angrily, "What? You want to go out too?" The black hell chicken trembled in fear. "How is that possible? I won't leave even if you beat me to death. I have to follow Master. It's too dangerous outside. That fat dog is finally gone. Master, can you teach me how to cultivate now?" Hanju immediately stood up. Indeed, he should teach the black hell chicken some skills. The black hell chicken had an intrinsic cultivation technique, but it lacked spells and mystical powers. The current black hell chicken was the size of a pavilion. Seeing how big it was, Hanju had an idea. He decided to imitate heaven and earth to it. He first briefly introduced the power of imitate heaven and earth. The black hell chicken was pleasantly surprised and thought to itself, "Damn fat dog, you didn't expect this, did you? Once you leave, I'll secretly learn mystical powers from my master. When you return, I'll see if I can beat you up." Just like that, Hanju began to teach the black hell chicken the cultivation technique. In a bustling city, Suki walked on a street with stalls on both sides as cultivators came and went. After leaving Hanju for so many years, he was no longer so childish. There was no smile on his face, and he gave off the feeling of someone who had experienced the vicissitudes of life. Suki looked around as he walked. After the destruction of the Liu family, he had emptied their fortune before escaping. Now he had spirit stones and spirit-gathering pills in his storage ring. After so many difficulties, he still didn't forget the mission Hanju gave him. Perhaps the outcome of the mission doesn't matter. What matters is the process. Suki thought silently. Thinking of all these years, he couldn't help but sigh. Whenever he was on the verge of despair, he would always turn the situation around. He guessed that Hanju was definitely protecting him secretly. That's right. That was definitely the case. Otherwise, how could he escape peril every time he fell into danger? Moreover, he remembered that Hanju had said that he wanted to personally go to the demon-taming sect and flatten it. This senior was nurturing him to become a qualified disciple. Every time he thought of this, Suki's blood would boil. He was not alone. He would never be alone. In his heart, Hanju was already his master. With master secretly protecting me, I have to complete my mission. Bang! Just as Suki was fantasizing, he accidentally bumped into someone. The other party immediately used his spirit energy to force him back. Suki took a few steps back and looked up to see a woman. He immediately apologized. "Sorry." The woman had a pretty face but a fiery temper. She immediately pointed at him and scolded, "You don't have eyes. I'll take them out. Do you believe me?" So fierce. Suki shook his head and laughed. Not angry, he prepared to walk around the woman. However, seeing that he did not care, the woman became even more furious. She drew her sword and slashed at him. The sound of the sword being unsheathed alerted the nearby beasts waiting to be sold. A few of them immediately pounced on her, causing her to swing her sword in a panic. She ended up in a sorry state. When Suki saw this, he smiled silently. "I knew it. Master is quietly helping me again." Warmth flowed through Suki's heart. Less than a year after the chaotic heavenly dog left, under the lead of Li Qianlong and Wei Yuan, the 19 sects finally prepared to attack the J Pure sect. Every sect brought tens or hundreds of disciples. All of them were at the 8th level of the Foundation Establishment realm and above. In total, there were several thousand people. They did not come from all directions but gathered together as one group. They were worried that they would encounter a soul formation cultivator, especially the mysterious deity-slaying elder, so they decided to follow behind Wei Yuan. Once Wei Yuan killed the deity-slaying elder, they would be able to charge in. Wei Yuan walked in the air, his sleeves fluttering in the wind. He had the disposition of an immortal. Using his divine sense to scan the J Pure sect, he frowned slightly. There's only one soul formation cultivator in the J Pure sect, and he's severely injured. He glanced at Li Qianlong unhappily. That gaze seemed to ask, "Are you toying with me?" Wei Yuan came all the way here, but in the end, it was to deal with an injured soul formation cultivator? Fortunately, before he came, he specially prepared for battle. All kinds of immortal equipment and talismans were prepared. In the end, that was all. Li Qianlong was pleasantly surprised when he heard that. He's injured? That's a good thing. His goal was to overthrow the J Pure sect, so he didn't care about anything else. Wei Yuan snorted unhappily. He was already here. He could only continue forward. At the same time, inside the connate cave abode, a notification appeared in front of Han Ju. The J Pure sect has been attacked by 19 righteous and demonic sects. You have the following choices. 1. Immediately run away. Stay away from trouble. You can obtain a numinous treasure. 2. Kill the enemies and protect the J Pure sect. You can obtain a spell manual. Han Ju didn't make a choice immediately. Instead, he cautiously used the simulation trial to detect the strongest person nearby. Wei Yuan, first level of the Void Amalgamation Realm, 9 Dragons, Sect's Deputy Sect Master from the West Abyss State. First level of the Void Amalgamation Realm? Not bad. Han Ju entered the simulation trial and fought with him. 3 seconds later, he opened his eyes and shook his head. He had the same thought as Wei Yuan. That was all. Chapter 65. Sect Master, are we still attacking? News of the attack by the 19 sects quickly spread throughout the J Pure sect. However, Lai Kingzi did not panic. He asked the elders of the 18 peaks and the outer sect elders to stabilize their morale. He activated the sect protection formation first, and all disciples were not allowed to go out to fight. The disciples did not panic either. They were all waiting for someone. Deity Slaying Elder. The elders had already revealed that Deity Slaying Elder wanted to face the 19 sects alone to reduce casualties. Lai Kingzi did not plan to do so initially, but to their surprise, the 19 sects did not split up. This was the perfect opportunity for Deity Slaying Elder to capture them all. Han Ju had already moved. The moment he walked out of the connate cave abode, the black hell chicken appeared. Master, there are many auras in the distance. Are there enemies invading? Are we going to escape? The black hell chicken asked anxiously. Han Ju walked around it and said, "They're just a bunch of chickens and dogs. Why do we need to run?" With that, he turned into a gust of wind and left the Cultivate diligently become Immortal Mountain. The black hell chicken looked in the direction he had left in worship. Wait. What did he mean by chickens and dogs? The black hell chicken felt offended. But on second thought, it was a phoenix, not a chicken. The one who was offended was that fat dog. The black hell chicken was amused instead. The cultivators of the 19 sects were nervous and excited at the same time. The J Pure sect is up ahead. Is that Senior Wei Yuan really a Void Amalgamation Realm cultivator? Of course. The J Pure sect's Deity Slaying Elder is the #1 cultivator in the Great Yan. Without Void Amalgamation Realm cultivation, who would dare to come? This battle will definitely go down in history. The J Pure sect is doomed. Zhou Fan and Mo Fuchao are so arrogant, but the J Pure sect still doesn't kick them out. They're the scum of the righteous path. The cultivators discussed and encouraged each other. Lai Qianlong and Wei Yuan walked at the front. They did not move quickly. Wei Yuan was full of confidence and did not care about the Jade Pure sect at all. He thought, if I end the battle too quickly, how can I display the strength of a Void Amalgamation Realm cultivator? At this moment, Han Ju appeared. He flew over on top of the Kylan sword. He could fly directly, but he felt that flying on a sword was cooler. With the help of the Six Paths spirit energy, his face was covered by mist, making it impossible to see his true appearance. Wei Yuan's gaze landed on Han Ju. 9th level of the Foundation Establishment Realm? What the heck? Wait. His body. Wei Yuan widened his eyes. He had lived for more than 1,000 years and was very knowledgeable. He could see through Han Ju's numinous treasures at a glance. He was covered in numinous treasures. Wei Yuan wasn't so rich. He only had one numinous treasure on him, and it was not a defensive one, but a piece of offensive equipment. Lai Qianlong didn't have Wei Yuan's vision, but he instantly guessed that this person was the Deity Slaying Elder. He immediately raised his hand, gesturing for the 19 sects to stop. All the cultivators looked at Hanju. The Jade Pure sect sent only one person to face them? Such arrogance. Could he be the legendary? Instantly, all the cultivators of the 19 sects shut up and did not dare to let their guard down. Hanju's gaze locked onto Wei Yuan. How could he have a hard time fighting someone at the first level of the Void Amalgamation Realm when he was at the second level? Should he put up a performance? Would it be a problem if he showed too much strength? Forget it. Too troublesome. He should just kill the person directly. Hanju got an idea as he was getting closer and closer to Wei Yuan. Wei Yuan took out a wooden staff embedded with various crystals and prepared to fight. He sent a voice transmission to Lei Qianlong and asked, "Is this person really not to waste 9 cauldrons?" This number of numinous treasures was too terrifying. For a moment, Wei Yuan wanted to admit defeat. Lei Qianlong replied with a voice transmission, "No, it should be deity slaying elder. I've heard that he only has outstanding talent. It's said that he was born in the outer sect of the Jade Pure sect and is less than 300 years old." Less than 300 years old? Nonsense. Where did the Great Yan cultivation world get so many treasures? This person was definitely not from the Jade Pure sect. Just as Wei Yuan was hesitating, Hanju suddenly rushed over. He was extremely fast. Wind God technique. The strong wind blew over, and Wei Yuan subconsciously raised his wooden staff. This young man. He doesn't have any morals. Why didn't he introduce himself before the battle? Wei Yuan was furious. He waved his staff, and Hanju waved his palm. In an instant, 6 lights burst out from Hanju's palm and spun at high speed, forming a circular seal. 6 Paths Ultimate Seal. Boom! A strong light burst forth, causing the world to lose its color. All cultivators closed their eyes. Wei Yuan felt an extremely terrifying force pressing down on him. His wooden staff couldn't block it at all. The force entered his body and melted his spirit energy. Oh no! Wei Yuan was shocked. Before he could think further, his mind went blank. The 6 Paths Ultimate Seal directly obliterated his essence soul. Instant kill. There was no doubt about it. Hanju could kill to waste 9 cauldrons, who was at the 8th level of the Void Amalgamation Realm when he was at the 1st level. It was naturally easy for him to deal with Wei Yuan. When the strong light dissipated, Lei Qianlong opened his eyes and saw that Wei Yuan's corpse was being carried by Hanju. His limbs hung down naturally. Wei Yuan's eyes were widened. He had obviously died with a grievance. His pupils had lost their luster. Lei Qianlong was almost frightened to death. He shouted in horror, "Senior Wei Yuan." Hanju recognized his aura. Wasn't this Lei Qianlong? Perfect timing. Hanju raised his right index finger and used the unparalleled finger divine sword. And the sword aura pierced through Lei Qianlong's chest. The overbearing 6 Paths spirit energy entered Lei Qianlong's body and destroyed his golden core. It then tore apart his nascent soul and severely injured his essence soul. Boom! Lei Qianlong spat out blood, and the spirit energy in his body dissipated. Another instant kill. Lei Qianlong froze in the air as blood flowed from his 7 apertures. He was in an extremely miserable state. He raised his head with difficulty and asked in disbelief, "You? How?" Everything happened too quickly. The battle had yet to begin, but Wei Yuan died while he got crippled instantly. The thousands of cultivators from the 19 sects were all stunned. Hanju smiled disdainfully. How? Because I cultivate an immortal emperor cultivation technique. I have top-notch cultivation potential. Not to forget, unparalleled Providence. Isn't killing you as simple as killing a chicken or a dog? Hanju raised his hand and pulled Lei Qianlong in front of him. He looked at the 19 sects and left without saying anything. There were too many cultivators here. If he killed all of them, the Jade Pure sect would become the public enemy of the Great Yan cultivation world. Not only that, but the entire cultivation world of the Great Heian would be weakened. At that time, the other states and dynasties might take advantage of the situation. Wei Yuan's death was enough to shock the entire 19 sects. Sweating profusely, a cultivator looked at his sect master and asked in a trembling voice, "Sect master, are we still attacking?" The sect master cursed. "Attack? What attack? Are you a spy? We're here to reinforce the Jade Pure sect. Young people like you lack foresight. The future of our sect is worrying." After Hanju crippled Li Qianlong, he threw him onto the main peak and let Lai Qingzi lead the way. He then returned to the Connate cave abode and placed Wei Yuan's corpse on the ground. With a flip of his right hand, a soul appeared in his palm. It was the sect master of the Raincoat sect, Huang Zenshin. Hanju didn't kill him. Instead, he kept his soul in the depths of his own soul. Hanju asked expressionlessly, "Do you want to revive?" Wei Yuan was the Nine Dragons sect's vice sect master. Killing him would definitely result in a deep enmity with the Nine Dragons sect. So Hanju wanted Huang Zenshin to occupy his body. To be precise, Wei Yuan wasn't completely dead. His essence soul had been destroyed, but his body's life force was still there. Of course, once his essence soul was destroyed, his body wouldn't last much longer.